The Colt 1903 .32 hammerless pocket. Let's check it out. The Colt Model 1903 was a John Browning design and then produced by Colt, licensed, even with the patent numbers across the slide. And these were made from 1903 to 1945. This particular model is from 1919. A smooth, elegant, well-functioning little pistol. Now the M1903 is designated as a pocket hammerless. And we're going to look at the reasons why this is not really true. There is an internal hammer, and it is shrouded by this slide. But the reason why it was called hammerless was to definitely hit the concealed carry market at the time. This is again in 32 ACP, and on the side it actually says 32 rimless cartridge. First thing we're going to do is make sure the gun is unloaded. You'll notice that it does have the heel type mag release. We have 8 in 1 in the magazine. Bring the slide back, and the gun is unloaded. Of course, the bluing on these pistols is just beautiful. The old traditional Colt bluing, and a lot of these pistols are really rough in condition, including this one. Now you're looking at this side, it looks great, and it is. You can see the beautiful sheen. There are a few imperfections. On the other side, there's a lot of pitting right here, but still you can see a lot of the bluing coming through. It's still a very beautiful firearm. One of the things though about that is that these guns in pristine condition can run into the thousands of dollars. And you know, it's important, really, especially if it starts getting into the military issued versions. This particular model was about $700, and usually you'll find really good quality M1903s for about $1,000. They're still pretty much available here and there. Now, one of the big reasons is because these guns are just extremely reliable. They just shoot well. They're very pointable. They do make an excellent concealed carry. Of course, it is in 32 ACP. But now the model 1908 was in 380 ACP. It actually had 7 in 1. Of course, a little bit bigger barrel, but a little more snappy. One of the things about 32 ACP is it is extremely pleasurable to shoot. Now, John Browning really is the father of the modern firearm, and of course with this design it's no different. This was made from 1903 up until 1945, and in fact it was issued to the U.S. military for officers for a number of years. In World War II, Dwight D. Eisenhower carried one of these. Omar Bradley, which the Bradley fighting vehicle has been named after him, and then also old Blood and Guts George Patton. And he carried one. Of course, it was really stylized. But these were carried, and of course in actually up until the 70s were these issued to the U.S. military, to officers in the Air Force and the U.S. Army. But it was replaced by the M1911 45, and it's actually their compact version in 1972. But not only did generals carry this, but also gangsters. In fact, this is really famous because Al Capone carried one of these. John Dillinger was actually, there was one of these in his pocket when he was shot by the FBI. And then another really cool story is the famed Bonnie and Clyde. Bonnie actually had one of these strapped to her leg and walked into a jail where Clyde was being held and broke him out of jail using one of the M1903. So the history around this pistol is just phenomenal. And there are a lot of other really similar stories which make this really cool. The one thing about these really old classic pistols is that they do have a lot of history and story behind them. But with the beautiful classic design, I mean, you can see it's really thin. It's a very ergonomic small pistol. It just fits the hand. Very pointable. And I'll tell you guys, I mean, I had zero malfunctions out of this pistol. I shot about 200 rounds through it. But that's pretty much the consensus of anybody that has had any experience with these. They just function. It is a blowback design, and as the rounds fire, it just pushes the slide back. And, you know, it's just a smooth feeding gun. And then, of course, with 32 ACP, it's just so easy at the range. The gun weighs 24 ounces. It's an all-steel frame. It's about 6.5 inches in length, 4.25 inches in height, and it's about 3/4 inches in width. Here at the grip, it's about an inch. The grip started out with this kind of a Bakelite hard rubber grip with Colt, and then the Rampant Colt at the bottom. About 1924, it changed to walnut grips that were checkered. Here we have a safety, manual slide safety, but we also have the old grip safety, and this was, of course, you know, used by Colt a lot of times. Really nice side serrations here. The slide serrations are really nice, and the gun does not hold open on that last round. Very similar to the 1911 with the cuts right here. And of course, this actually came out before the 1911, so the 1911 was probably more inspired by this. Of course, with the European style mag release, you know, Europeans have been doing that for a long time, and you know, it works fine if you just get used to it. But definitely a side release is a little quicker in what most American shooters, and now pretty much European shooters, enjoy. It is a single action pistol, and that means to fire the pistol, of course the hammer is recessed anyway, the slide has to be pulled back, and then this allows for you to fire. The trigger pull is pretty soft. It's about 6 pounds, and you know, it just works. I mean, that's just all I can say about this pistol. Sights, very low profile. They can be adjusted windage wise. When I first bought this pistol, it was actually missing the rear sight, and it wasn't that big a deal to find one. One of the great things about these pistols, if you do have a problem, there are parts that are available, which make it kind of nice. But as far as accuracy on the range, the sights are so low, they're fairly difficult to see. It has just a front blade at the front. Again, this was made for concealed carry, made for up close pocket pistol. Shooting about 7 yards, Fiocchi, 73 grain, 32 ACP. And shooting a little bit low, but pretty decent little group for an old pistol. Now here we have 9mm, 380 ACP, and then 32 ACP. One of the things about the 32 is a lot of people are discounting this as a self-defense round. But Beretta still makes their Tomcat, Kel-Tec still makes their 32 ACP pistols. But one of the things about 32 ACP is the recoil is very mild. And because of that, you can get a lot of shots on target really quickly. The IDF Sky Marshals carried 22 long rifle Berettas and were very effective against even terrorists with AK-47s because they could get the shots on super fast. And so there is some advantages to this, even though ballistically your 380 is considered the least self-defense caliber for most of your experts. And then, so, you know, it is something to consider, but it's definitely, you need to make those shots count if this is what you're going with. On some of the later models, they did include a magazine disconnect, but on this model, it still fires. And this one was made in 1919, according to the serial number. One of the great things about Colt is you can go to their website and type in the serial number, and it'll give you the date of whatever gun that you have, which I think is a pretty cool service. Now at the range, the ease of shooting this pistol just made it a lot of fun. No malfunctions whatsoever, just feeds flawlessly. The 32 ACP is definitely very mild in recoil, which really allows for you to get those quick follow-up shots. And so, you know, it's just a smooth feeding gun. The sights are definitely so low profile, made for concealed carry, but somewhat hard to see. This is more of a point and shoot, and it naturally points in your hand. The ergonomics of the pistol, just the thinness and the balance of this pistol just really allow you to feel like a natural part of your hand. Sometimes you can pick up some of these older pistols and they can have some issues with reliability and things like that. But I took this out directly, went out and shot it, and it was just flawless the whole time. We're going to go ahead and disassemble the pistol, and of course first thing I'll do is take out the magazine. One of the things about this pistol is there's no bushing. Now the early models had a barrel bushing similar to the 1911, but this bushing is actually built into the slide. Now right here you'll notice a little arrow with a hash mark. If you bring your slide back, and of course we're going to double check to make sure the gun isn't loaded, it looks like it meets the hash mark, and then you can break it down by turning the barrel counterclockwise. But I found that that's not really the case. So I disengage this little slide stop and bring it back manually, which it's pretty easy to do, until I find where the barrel will rotate. There it goes right there. And then once you have your locking lug up high on the top of the barrel, just release the slide. Recoil spring comes right out, and guide rod. It's a pretty long recoil spring. Now you'll notice as we turn the barrel back, there are grooves right here in the barrel, and that's what locks up the pistol. And then when you get those grooves facing, you can just pull the barrel right out. With the lug here, and then there's another place right here that kind of coincides with your slide. And that's all you need to do to field strip the pistol. It's really simple. You can take out your firing pin. There's a pin right here, and then your extractor pin, and that comes out really easy. Here is the hammer, and once we engage the grip safety, you can see the hammer just rides inside the frame. You want to make sure that's cocked. You don't want that to slide and hit right here. Then we see the grooves in the receiver where your barrel meets up to it. They just rest right in here. It gives it a really good solid lockup. But just, again, a lot of engineering and beautiful, beautiful pistol. When we reassemble, make sure those grooves are facing downward toward the bottom of the slide. And then you'll want to turn it until these lugs are facing up. Take your guide rod and spring. Now you want to get it inside the little hole right here in your receiver. And then just bring it back. Now I lock it at first to get it started, but again, you're going to have to find your sweet spot. Once you get it to the position where you can feel the turn, just let it turn and the slide will go forward and it'll lock right here into the front of the slide. And you're back in business. So the Colt 1903 hammerless pocket pistol, thumbs way up. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. John Browning. Rubber dummies, take a licking and keep on ticking. The Colt 1903 hammerless pocket pistol. The Colt hammerless. The Colt 1903 32 rimless. The Colt 1903 32 rimless pocket hammerless. Okay. The Colt 1903 32 rimless hammerless pocket pistol. What a mouthful. Good gosh. The Beretta Cheetah, model 84 in 380 ACP. Let's check it out. Now in the self-defense world, 380s have gotten really smaller and smaller. Very easy to conceal. And so a lot of these larger 380s have kind of fallen a little bit out of favor. But we're going to take a look at the Beretta Model 84, some of the features about this gun that really make it a great self-defense gun in a lot of different situations. This is one of the surplus imported Beretta 84s that are now coming into the country. And they got this from AIM Surplus. In fact, I think they're already sold out, but they do get regular shipments in of all kind of different surplus pistols, so keep your eye out, because one of the things about these little guns is when they first come into the country, they're very reasonable. I think this one was $349. The regular price on these is around the $650 range. So, but we're going to take a look. Maybe you have one, maybe you know of someone, but it's just a great little pistol, not a mouse gun, but definitely effective for self-defense, even if it is a little bit larger. Very similar to its big brother, the Beretta 92, and this is the in 380 ACP. It's actually designated BB, which there are a number of different designations and variations of this same model. This is a blowback design. It has a steel sliding barrel, alloy frame. You get it in the wood grips, but there's a number of different models that have it in the black grips. This was designed in 1976 and imported into the US in 2013, which it's still being produced in Europe, and sometimes they will reintroduce certain models here in the States. First thing we're going to do though is make sure the gun is unloaded, so we drop our magazine, check the chamber, and the gun is empty. Now the Beretta 80 series was not just 380. It started out with the model 81 all the way up through 89. And it had 32 ACP and 22 long rifle. And there's a lot of different variations, and I'm not going to bore you or myself with all the details because there is a lot of different models and designations. It is a 13-in-1 magazine. They do have a couple of models, the 83 and the 85, that are single stacked and 7 and 8 rounds respectively, and thinner in the grip. Now the magazine is all steel, and again